One thing I didn't mention working at GameStop was how different parents were, because this was, I don't know, about 10 years after I was buying games, because my mom screened my games like pretty seriously. Because at one point, and this was a pain in the ass, I got Star Wars Rogue Squadron from the Nintendo 64, great game, but it was rated teen. And my mom's like, I don't know if I should let you play it. It's rated teen and you're only 10. I said, it's a Star Wars game. I've seen all the Star Wars movies. Because I don't know why it was rated teen. I guess because the ship combat was scary for some people. I don't really know. But I had to talk her into it. I remember that she's like, well, yeah, I guess as long as you should be really mature. I said, God, this is so stupid. It's a Star Wars game. I've been watching the Star Wars movies since I was 5 years old. You know who introduced me to Star Wars movies? My mom. So I thought that was a little bit ridiculous. And there were, like, a lot of games I wanted to get back then, like Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, and she was like, well, no. And that was a violent game, but I wasn't a violent kid. Other than a couple of exceptions where I got in some fights or watched wrestling, but I really didn't. Although they believe way too much in, oh, you've been watching wrestling, that's why you want to fight people. No. I want to fight people because the dude took my stuff, or the dude insulted me one time too many. But anyway, so my mom seriously vetted the games I played. Well, parents would come in and they'd buy their kid Call of Duty. And they'd be like, all right, I just got to get your mom to, because she's like, and she'd be like, oh, well, I screen his games very carefully. And she looked at the back cover. Heavy violence, coarse language. Oh, it's okay. It's okay, 9-year-old Billy. I was just like, son of a bitch. My mom wouldn't let me have Call of Duty for nothing. The only reason she let me start buying and renting M-rated games was because I told it before, we found a video store that had a game I really wanted, and my mom was like, oh shit, I'm not driving 2 hours, or it wasn't that far, it was just a decent way away from home. I'm not driving that far to return or rent games. She's like, all right, if we go to our other store, you can rent M-rated games. I was like, okay. That cured me of that. So I rented Mortal Kombat 4, which was a really awful game. But otherwise, that wouldn't have flown with her, because my sister has a friend whose son's like in the 5th grade, and all his friends watch Squid Game for whatever reason. So she broke down and let him watch it. That wouldn't have worked with my mom. All my friends got to see it. Okay, so what? You're not watching it. Not to say it's that bad of a show. It's violent, but otherwise it's just violent. It's not really full of coarse language and a lot of nudity. But I guess the parent decides how the kid can handle it. They'll say this, playing violent video games will desensitize you to violence, because I played enough Fallout when I was old enough to. Because back then, games were, not all the best games were rated M. Like, there were good games, like, Zelda's rated E. I mean, you had Metal Gear Solid, but a lot of times the best games weren't your M-rated bloodfest, swearfest. But now it's very different. Now, your game of the year is going to be M-rated. So parents are different. They're a little more laid back than my mom would have been about stuff, because she wouldn't have. There was a time, like I said, I had to beg to rent teen-rated games, and I thought that was ridiculous.